How to learning stream number one. This will most likely be a series of sorts as time goes by. My initial thought was to just grab questions from the teams I work with, and I quickly accrued about a dozen questions in a day or two. We'll see if that pace keeps up or not. Basically, I'll be looking to do these once a week, ideally. That being said, my schedule for December is going to be sporadic, probably I'll see what I can do there. But basically, I'm looking to in the future probably do them on weekends, most likely every Saturday or Sunday. Try and get more of a fixed time so people can know what to expect and when to show up and chat and things like that. Because I also want to take live questions from chat, not just uh, ones I got before from my server channel. So I got a bunch of different cool things set up for everyone here, so I can be ready. There's just a really basic screen I threw together. This is by the most boring screens. Let's zip over to the Q&A screen. Yay, there I am. Hello. Um, Whoops, that question's... Actually, that is our first question from DeWitt. Um, I'll do some fancier things later, like showing which team or a team logo or something. Actually, just remember that now that I saw this. But DeWitt is the captain of Zul'jin Distillery. They got third/fourth place in NGS Div D this season, season 5. So pretty cool. Top 3, top 4. Solid performance from them. And he asks, where does Mal'Ganis fit into the meta, and in what style of composition does he thrive? We'll probably have more insight on this after BlizzCon. No, BlizzCon doesn't really. I think too many people look to the pros just before they make any decisions of their own. And I've seen this for a long time in the game, years. People basically don't form an opinion themselves about a given hero, a rework, a talent, a new map, whatever, until the pros do something, they say something, and they're like, okay, well, now we have an opinion. Bit of glare here from the lamp. Doing it this late at night, my lighting's really unideal in this room. If I do it during the daytime, which I would in another stream, they'll have natural lighting and it'll be better. Um, no, I mean, seeing what pros can. It's not like I can predict what a pro player is going to do with a given hero or how they match things up. It's just that whatever they do end up doing isn't going to be as useful for the rest of us as it is for them. So, anyway, to get rid of this glare, other than taking off my glasses, which I guess I don't really need. Computer glasses. It's an annoyingly sharp reflection. Anyway, um, okay, but what about Mal'Ganis? Where does he fit into the meta? I think he fits anywhere right now. And I don't say that because he's slightly overtuned. Actually, let's pull up his Hot Slogs win rate. I think it's like 57, 58%. 57.7 specifically. That would have had a slight increase this week. So let's just call it 57. Okay, so he's overtuned by around 5%, let's say. Let's say 3 to 5%, because Blizzard's threshold seems to be in that like 50-55 range, depending on the hero. Um, you know, Lily's at 55%. Probius, oh my god, he's 55.7. Nobody cares. Getting off track though. He's like 4 to 5% overtuned, which isn't that much. So, all we're probably going to see for Mal'Ganis specifically, like in my personal expectations, obviously he's going to get a nerf on some of his abilities, though that isn't really your question. But I'm just trying to preface this because there's this other notion where like, oh my god, a hero's nerfed, they're not usable now, but nerf just means bring it. In this case, he's going to be brought down to earth. He's just a little too strong. So where does he fit into the meta? I think anywhere. I think 100% first pick, first ban material. That's true of a lot of new heroes, just because people also, there's still a surprise factor. They don't know how to properly play against the hero, how to, what are all the counters. That's actually one of our later questions, I believe, from another team, how to deal with Mal'Ganis. So you have that surprise element going on for you. Grab the hero when you can. It's going to be hard. It's probably going to be first banned. Having played him a bunch, I think I played around 10 games on him, though this was in QM and not with a team or anything. But he's very okay. But then to get on to the next part of your question, what style of composition does he thrive? A combo, definitely combo. Think your grab, your Kelthys Odds, your Kerrigans, um, any sort of heroes who want a nice setup. He provides it so easily with his kit. So easily. It's almost absurd, actually, how easy. It's kind of like, we'll talk about that later. There's another tank question later. I don't want to answer it now. So mostly, they don't have to be blow up compositions, in my opinion. Um, but combo, something. Okay. So throw on. Oh, let's go over to our handy dandy hero draft picker screen and just look at a quick Mal'Ganis, Mal'Ganis style draft. Yeah, I just like playing with a Kelsuzad, who is honestly garbage. He finally caught on that was setting up for a Maul game, then started destroying all life. The hero has a good amount of catch, but follow up's always nice. So sleep targets make easy catch or something like a Malfurion or a Deckard. Oops, I didn't actually mean to move this. I can just I know Deckard, it's a lot more popular. Let's throw out a Malf just for fun. Now we're going to need something more because this is squishy. So let's pick an off laner of some sort. You could just throw in Blaze, why not? Though people don't really use them for off lane right now, but it doesn't matter. And then we're going to throw out some sort of extra damage. Something like a Rainer's pretty nice. That's a Tychus. Tychus will work fine. Really, any AA. Greymane would probably be pretty sick. You could get away with like pretty much anyone here, but let's just pick Rainer because it's something somewhat meta. And this is a pretty solid Mal'Ganis setup. You have two tanky heroes. You have a nice follow up with Malfurion off roots. You just set up with Mal'Ganis and or Blaze, some combination thereof. You follow up with your support and your assassins, and people should die quite easily. You mix and match sustain and burst damage, so if one misses, you still have the other. Okay, you can't miss sustain damage, but you're not all in on just the burst, though you could double down on the burst if you wanted as well. So Mal'Ganis combo burst. Obviously, he can also work well in sustain because his sleep can chase people pretty well. He can slow people. He can take a talent, I believe, at 13. We're gonna zip over to the game. Oh, right. I forgot. I'm gonna have to do a funny thing here, really quick. Oop, not the logo. Sorry for the infinite. Sure. Yeah, this right here. Night Beckons. So, for example, this would proc off of Rainer's Executioner. Of course, all these talents are really, really good, but we're not here to talk about Mal'Ganis build. But compositions, so just to recap, I think he fits just about anywhere because he's really strong. We'll see how people learn to deal with him. I will answer that question later, and this will help inform this answer. Yeah, I would pick him mostly with setup and combo. Even if it's something like a Chromie, Guaranteed Asmodan Dunks, heroes who have maybe struggled to chase other heroes down, you could also throw in like an Arthas offlaner or something. And then Mal'Ganis is running around on the front lines, stunning and slowing, and that allows Arthas to easily just zip in and start perma-rooting people. And he can almost do anything for his team alone up front for setup. All they have to do is walk up and press their buttons on sleeping heroes. It's easy mode. So we're going to move on to question number 2. With the Brightwing changes, how viable is she? Referring to her last rework, as far as I know. How do you feel she fits into teams, and where does she sign? So this is 3 different questions, and I've prepared a more interesting screen here. Yay, Brightwing. This is my image. I stole it off Google, so credit to whoever did this Brightwing wallpaper. Something I'm going to try to do for certain heroes we talk about, throw up an image and show the question, just be a little more interesting. How viable is she? She's viable for sure. She is a global. Globals are always strong if you know how to use them. As with any tool in HOTS, it doesn't automatically benefit you. You still have to understand how to use it, how to leverage it to gain that benefit for your team, to have the impact you're looking for in a given hero. So, Brightwing's, I think her win rate's junk. Again, well, oops, wrong screen. Look at odds logs. Okay, I say junk, it's 48.9%, but it's down 2.5%, so it was above 50. It's mostly a team identity thing, and that's largely been true of Brightwing pretty much forever, although there's probably some years ago, a few spots where she had some pretty bonkers talents and moments, but like in the last year or so, last year and a half, really people pick her because they like her, because they want to abuse her global power. And you can still do that. I've seen teams destroying in some of my casts with Dahaka and Brightwing, double global, even way outdoing an Abathur on the enemy team. And it gives you just so much flexibility because you have two heroes who can always soak lanes and just hold lanes and then just show up to a fight in 2 to 3 seconds. And it gives you just crazy flexibility, so easy. You don't have the issue where you're running to an objective, or you still have a lane pushing in or a camp, and like you don't want to show up late to the objective, but then you want to clear the camp or the lane first. You don't have that issue when you have globals, especially when you have two globals. I don't think she has to be run. Like her effectiveness isn't contingent on having a secondary global. I'm just saying I've seen it, and it's really strong. Um, she still is, she's a utility hero. She's a utility support. And when I say utility, I mean, you know, she has specific skills. Utility support's really more like Tassadar Tyrande. Right Wing's there too because she has a global. She has this polymorph. She now has like a AoE cleanse, though on a big cooldown. So she has a lot of utility, and if you understand how to use that utility, she's going to have a high impact. So how do you feel she fits into teams? Mostly team identity thing. You have to have a player, your support player needs to have a good global awareness. Watching lanes, watching engages, do I suddenly teleport to the off laner to help him secure a kill or, prevent him from getting ganked or something like that. When you're playing a global hero, any of them, which there's 4 in the game, baseline, Dahaka, Abathur, Brightwing, Felstead. I'm not counting heroes who can gain global style abilities later, like ETC Stage Dive, or Zagara Nidus. It just requires understanding the map and how you move around, and then playing around your cooldown, right? So fitting into teams is largely that. She does lend herself more to. She has really good anti-dive between Polymorph and Emerald Wind. She has a lot of mobility with Blink Heal, pretty slippery, and of course her teleport. She's pretty good shielding, pretty good anti-burst from magic with her Pixie Dust. She's not that great against physical, like hyper carry team, for example. Running one or more auto attackers would not do that. So this is more leaning into where does she shine. So yeah, she shines on bigger maps when you want to run global strats. She shines on blow up or specific anti-dive. Like you just want to ruin like a Sanya or Greymane's Day or a Zeratul or a Genji even. They want to zip in and do their annoying shit. Just polymorph. Boom. And now at level 1 she has not greater polymorph. What is it called? Unless maybe it is called greater polymorph now. Haha. Right wing. It is greater polymorph. I'm not crazy. 30% increased range on polymorph, and takedowns reset the cooldown. Like, it's actually nuts. You can snowball a fight with this ability alone. Polymorph one target, blow him up, reset, reset. You just murder people. That's what she likes. She loves murder. Fight time, right? Right wing. So she's not easy mode. She's not crazy hard either, but she's medium difficulty with a shade towards hard, and I only say that because I see a lot of people pick this hero and just fail to use her properly, whether it's in a coordinated environment or a Hero League environment. Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting a question. Sorry about that. Just answer a question. Where are we? So look to abuse globals, and like a quick I'm trying to recap sort of the conclusion of every question of my ramblings. Maybe at one point I'll even try and have like on-screen summaries. Um, Look to abuse the global, abuser polymorph, whether to blow up targets or anti-dive. Now, because she can do both with single target dive, it's just poly, full anti-team dive is Emerald Wind, so she has both options. And so, again, not all these elements have to be true for her to shine. Just one or the other can be true. You just need one global, and she just camps a lane until she's needed. You're running more globals. You don't necessarily need a global, but you want her, like, Pixie Dust. You just want her polymorph. Like, you just need to tick one of her boxes, and she should have the impact you're looking for, theoretically. But it comes down, that's on paper, and then can you play the hero? Do you understand the cooldowns? Do you understand what your team's doing? Does she fit into your wing condition? Blah, blah, blah. There's all these other elements, but all right, let's see. Question number 3 is also from Zoldrith. I believe we have 8 or 9 questions from Zoldrith. One from DeWitt, one from Cersei, one from JSE, Jesse. So a lot of them are going to be from Zoldrith. Background. My team has recently had to deal with Mephisto and Scrims. Oh, that's misspelled. Didn't even notice. Whatever. Unfortunately, we had a lot of issues dealing with him. Fair enough. He's a difficult hero to deal with. What do you think the most effective way to deal with a Mephisto is? Most effective way? Probably dive. I would say up front, like quick, like short answer, dive. Not just one hero, not like a Genji, like he's not gonna care. Like dive him. Multiple people go in with like three, 4, and one or two are supporting the dive. Because he can't run away. He has mobility, but it's a leash, right? Because his shade, he comes back to where his shade is. So it's not like Li Ming who can zip away. Zip. Teleport away. In Jukyu. So he's actually a rather squishy hero. Though he can talent defense with certain shields and this, that, and the other. And armor after shade and blah blah blah. But mostly dive. The other way to try and deal with him is to go really heavy sustain. Think White Mane, for example. Excuse me, let's actually just zip over to our hero picker screen. You're looking for more like AoE healing supports. Those are assassins. I knew that. Stukov's probably not bad, honestly. Never mind these pop-ups. Stukov's probably pretty darn good. Stukov and White Mane, I think, are my top 2. Deckard, with under the right conditions, would really shine, but you need the setup first. If you don't have the setup, it's going to look meh. He's obviously insanely ability-heavy damage, so anti-ability damage stuff is nice, which is really like, I guess you have, Kelderai resistance on Tyrande, that stacks. Right Wing has Pixie Dust, that's really one target. You're really looking for more than one person stuff. So I didn't have a draft. I don't know what you were looking at necessarily. Actually, this is still a picture of Brightwing, but let's actually I don't have all this set up. I was gonna do some stuff on the fly. Oops, sorry, that's the drawing board. There we go. I'm trying to set up a bunch of different screens so I could improv stuff if there's anything from chat, though I didn't expect it at midnight off my first stream. So the most effective way to deal with Mephisto, dive. You can try and out Mephisto the Mephisto by going sustain to counter all of the damage he'll be dealing to you. So again, think that White Mane, maybe Deckard, Stukov, pretty nice. Right Wing's okay, because she has an AoE healing and the Pixie Dust, but not really that ideal, because her heals are timed based. They have to wait for her pulses. Not as ideal, rather have more control over your healing. Rhaegar would probably be a pretty nice substitute between some form of multi-healing and dive, because he's an excellent dive hero, but can also chain heal your team and throw down healing totem and stuff as well. That's mostly a team identity. Rhaegar isn't that common, but if you know how to use Rhaegar well, it could be interesting. I was going to say, so out-sustain him and then out-sustain his damage, of course, is the rest of his team's damage. Then you try and out-poke him. By what I said about Mephisto is in, maybe you have some Azmodan, Chromie, Azmodan Ming, Hanzo, Asmo, something. Probably not just one nuker, artillery nuker, probably 2. And then just dunk his team while sustaining his aggro on you. That's a possible way to deal with it as well. But again, you have to pull that off. That's trickier. Sort of. There's no necessarily easiest way again is dive. But if you're not a dive team who isn't comfortable with playing dive, then that's my backup recommendation. Not backup, that's the wrong word. That's my other recommendation, is just try and out-nuke him, basically. Because he is squishy. So if you can nuke him down, force some cooldowns on him from his supports, or support, whatever, could be good. Mostly that in both dive and the artillery style have some element of burst to them, and I mentioned how squishy he was, and that he can't really get away. Displacement could be interesting. You could try some Junkrat shenanigans, some Stitches shenanigans, separate him and or his teammates from each other, because Mephisto really wants to play around his team and just try to capitalize on chaos. Um, let's just leave it at that for now. If there's any follow-up queries, we can dive more into Mephisto things. Question 3, unsurprisingly from Zeldrith. The HP FUF, do you feel like ETC is on par with the meta tanks? No, sadly. Oops, that's the wrong screen. I wanted to get a photo for this. I don't think I have a very specific one in mind. But, wow. It's really not showing. There it is. Is that the one? Well, wasn't quite what I had in mind. Yeah, that's just his. Oh well, I wanted the like marine ETC, and I think it was it's like a Easter egg image or something. It might even be back in Warcraft. I can't remember. But it's ETC like in a space marine outfit with a gun and like a marquee on his shoulder. I wanted that image. I thought I had it, but apparently I don't. Sad face. So sorry, we'll have to skip the fancy image. But do I feel as on par? No, because heroes like Diablo and Mal'Ganis, and even to an extent Garrosh, can do his job largely better. By better, I mean survive really easily. ETC's problem is squishiness, which has kind of always been his issue in recent times. Um, but I think he's still very usable. Anything's usable, right? You hear me say this time and time again because it's true. Because we're not playing HCC Open or HCC itself. Um, even from runs to GM, all that matters is you have a win condition. Some teams don't have one. I'll if I can find it. It was a game of mine on the semifinals. I'll try and throw this image up on the screen. A team drafted something without a win condition. They actually had none, and they just lost like stupidly badly. Um, but I don't remember now. I know it was a Cursed Hollow game. Was it the wild card? Okay. Anyway, I'm sorry. I should have prepared that before. I don't want to waste too much time digging through my streams. A couple hours. Um, no, no, it would have been game. Okay, it would have been this. Would have been this. Almost 100% positive. Almost. Unless it was the finals and on the ingest channel and I'm crazy. Yeah, sorry, I don't know where it went. Anyway, the point is, they didn't draft a win condition. All they had was a bunch of defense. They couldn't kill anything. They couldn't clear waves. They just got overrun and lost in like 10 minutes. So, and this was a Storm Div team. Drafting's hard. Can be, but it is for a lot of people. So, ETC is a great hero. His base kit's amazing. He's like the only hero I'd say who could probably get by without ultimates and not care, because his base kit is just so handy at engage and defense, and he has a self heal. But his ultimates are really strong. Moshpit's probably, or arguably, the best ultimate in the entire game. At least top 3, easily. For what it can do, the potential level. Of course, the execution's hard and everything. Stage dive, super useful, super utility. Doesn't have to worry about his positioning. Can be like this weird sort of global run around, not be with his team, but then join the fight style hero if you want. So I still think he's good, but there's no particular reason to pick the hero unless you like the hero or your team plays really well with him and you're just really really comfortable on ETC, which a lot of people are. He's still my most played hero, most played warrior by I don't know 10 levels something. So I'm really comfortable on the hero, but these days, there tends to be a lot of CC. There tends to be a lot of, there's new pesky heroes like Mal'Ganis with sleep. Diablo's everywhere. Muradin's everywhere. Johanna. A lot of heroes who have high, Garrosh, just heroes who have a lot of easy, like self cleanses, self escapes, or they're just tanky enough to maybe not really care. or they can really punish an ETC if he's not careful. So I love the hero. I still think he's usable. Um, but just in a sense, there's no great reason to pick him other than a team identity thing or a team, particular individual player being really comfortable on the hero. Sadly. Oh, Sadat Hots. What are we learning? We're learning questions that people have asked from my Discord server, my Ripper Hots coaching server. But I am also taking any live questions. So if you have a question, I will try and answer it. So next question, unsurprisingly, from Zaldrith yet again. Would a hypercarry comp with double tank instead of support be a valid strategy? For example, instead of drafting 2 assassins, you draft a second tank to fill that spot. This question kind of confuses me because most hypercarry comps only have 1 assassin. I need to put these on. My eyes are getting too strained. So sorry about the glare. So we're going to go over to our hero drafting screen. That is completely the wrong screen. This is what happens when I'm tired. All right. There we go. Okay. But now I gotta go to question specifically. Would a hypercarry comp with double tank? Oh, instead of support. Oh, you're kind of asking two. This question is a little confusing. So you'd have 1 tank, 2 supports, 2 assassins. Is that what you're trying to say initially? Because that's not usually what hypercarry. Most hypercarry comps are double tank, double support 1, like Avala. You're all in on Avala. Some teams have done. Yeah, I'm reading that, but I'm like I have 2 different drafts in my mind for what you're talking about. Without a second healer, I mean, yeah, it's a valid strategy. I guess it really depends what your hypercarry is. Did you have a particular one in mind that would help me answer this question? Because everything's contextual, right? You can't just say, well, any hypercarry is fine, because that's not true. Matchups are really important. And team how synergistic. Zarya, sure, should work. Could work. But I was going to do hero picker things. So let's just pretend we have Avala. And then we have a support. We'll just pick Deckard because, Deckard things. And then we'll pick a more defensive style frontliner because then we'll pick the Zarya because she's around. Maybe this could get weird because Zarya might be forced off lane. I don't know. Let's just grab Johanna. But then you're saying you said without a second healer, but then your questions. I'm not trying to be an ass. Just questions, kind of 2 different questions in the same question, so it's a little odd. Without a double tank. Oh, with a double tank. Sorry, my brain's not working. Hypercarry comp with a double tank instead of support. Be valid strategy. Yes, but most hypercarry comps already have double tank, or double warrior at least. Not necessarily double tank, but double warrior. I didn't finish drafting this. What are we doing? This draft's getting a little weird. So I guess I didn't know you didn't want a second support, or you did want to see 2 supports, 2 tanks, and an assassin. I think is what you were getting at. Just throw in Lily or something hilarious. Because why not? But maps also matter, right? And then we'll get to this one of your later questions about the Zool draft, right? It's not just what the heroes, like, nothing exists in a vacuum in HOTS, right? An individual hero doesn't exist in a vacuum. And then even when you're looking at a full team, like we are here, this is a little bit of a weird draft, but whatever, it's also map dependent. This draft may look really good on one map and may look like trash on another, based on how the lanes work and the rotations or lack thereof work, or how the objectives work. Are you forced to fight? Can you avoid? All this matters and factors into how good a draft can perform or not. Without a second healer, so like a Sonya or something instead of a Lily. Oh, okay. Then you'd have like 3 warriors. Nay? Because there's already Johanna in here. This is getting crazy. Wow, that Nightbot is like... He's so wrong. Do not check out the NGS standings. There's no NGS standings to check out. Well, this is triple warriors. This is weird. I wouldn't do this. I think you're looking for a second assassin. No? So we'd probably eat the Zarya would have to be cut here. Because he wouldn't do Sonya Zarya. That's just madness. Oh yeah, but sure. No, I would I would still go. You don't have to go double tank, but I would go. You mean triple warrior? Doable. Depends on the map, really. Like, oh, triple. I mean, triple warrior. Debatable. Um, Zarya and Sonya can crank out pretty decent damage depending on their damage is somewhat conditional. Under the right conditions, they super shine though, and they can just beat down people and be basically invincible. So, you'd probably want a fighty map, probably something like Infernal Shrines, again where Sonya can shine like spin to win on the minions. It's a pretty fighty draft. It could even work on something like Braxis. Where you're just skirmishing like a 4-1, and you can look to maximize this kind of aggro impact with like the Zarya shields and the Vala pressure, and Sonya usually holds her own lane really well. Usually, anything's a thing. It just has to be a win condition. It doesn't matter how difficult, crazy, unusual, unorthodox, out of meta it is. None of that's relevant. What's relevant is can you win with it, and I don't mean assuming the enemy's bad. Like that doesn't count as a condition. Assume they're as good as you. Maybe they're even better than you. Can you still win with it? That's really the question. So could you win with this draft? Yes. I'd probably have to see like an enemy draft, and I'm a little too tired to like pick a. I should be in bed right now, but I wanted to do this stream before another day went by. Uh, but you'd want something fighty, Raxus, Infernal. Like I wouldn't really pick this on Tomb. Like what's the point? You're just running between lanes. You don't have to fight, honestly. You don't really have to fight on Tomb, unless they get gems and you want to stall turn-in. But you don't even have to hard engage turn-ins usually to stall them. Depending on your draft, you can just stall. You know what I mean? So, or Garden of Terror or whatever. Of course, it's been reworked to be more fighty. But let's move on to question number 5. Background. So recently, it seems like everyone is prioritizing Mal'Ganis. Seems everyone's been prioritizing Mal'Ganis. We would like to know what we need to play against him instead of priority banning him every game. What is an effective way to take down Mal'Ganis reliably, and how should he be played against? Excellent question. Really good question. I like this question. Fortunately, this is actually a pretty straightforward answer. Boom. Blizzard can have some really generic stuff. On their weaknesses, on their heroes. Sometimes they're really vague and just like why, they're weak to CC. It's like, well, isn't every hero weak to CC? Because if they get chain stunned, they're probably going to die. Also, this question box is wrong. Let me change this to the right question. Questions. Many questions. Here we go. There's the right question. Boom. So it's right here on the screen. He's easily interrupted. This is really important. So if you've been playing Mal'Ganis at all, he has a lot of animations. His sleep animation is a wind up. Got my finger. His both his ultimates are channeled wind ups. Even his Q, his fell claws or whatever they're called. He's like swipe, 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 but it's a third swipe that stuns you. If you interrupt him before the third swipe, it resets the whole thing, and he can't do his third stun swipe. So all you have to do is disrupt him, which is not that hard to do. You can do it with a bunch of melee heroes. ETC is actually probably really darn good at that. Diablo's good at that. Garrosh should be good at that. Muradin, a little harder to pull off because you'd have to land the Stormbolt, which something could get in the way of it or whatever. So something AoE or more guaranteed. Then you have backline stuff. You have things like a Tychus grenade, a Raynor bullseye, a Morales EMP grenade. I mean, no one really plays Morales, but you know what I mean. Um, Something reliably quick. Like watching enemy hero animations is really important. It's a skill I picked up from Dota mostly because there are cast times on things. There's not always cast times on HOTS. Some things are just instant, but some things are. They are wind ups. And if you can interrupt the wind up and really screw over a hero, you can. So that's the step one. There's a second part to this, which is below here. It's healing reduction. So healing reduction is relevant to Mal'Ganis because every single thing he does heals himself. That's his trait, his aura, his vampiric aura. And he can even talent it so his team gets 10% lifesteal. And of course, he goes from 45 to 55%. So his auto attacks heal him, his abilities heal him, his ultimates can heal him insanely. Everything heals the guy, right? And that's how he largely plays really aggressive. He goes in deep, but it's not just that, sleep as well. He's looking to engage, so uh, interrupting him is important. You could also go for displacement, could be really interesting, because as I talked about earlier on DeWitt's question, I also forgot to say Zaldrith is on Team Throwing Shade, tank player. Um, I predict most effective way to play Mal'Ganis is with combo teams. Combo teams usually need to play within effective spell range of each other, or effective engagement range, EER. So if you can pull them apart with whatever disruption displacement style heroes you can play or like to play, that could be an interesting way. Of course, you need to sufficiently lock him down so he doesn't just fly his way out of there. That happened. I was playing against a Garrosh, and the Garrosh could throw me and stun me, but his team had no follow-up CC, so I just used my W, I forget the name of it, and then just fly out of there with sleep every time. It was hilarious actually, because you're like, oh my god, I'm in the team. They're like, yay, we're getting a kill, and you're like, haha, bye, I'm out of here, and you just fly away. So you need some way to stun him. So I think silence is effective against everyone. Probably against him, Stukov could be really interesting. Of course, Brightwing Polymorph's always good. Quick roots, well, things like Deckard and Malf are slow. The roots aren't instant, so questionable. Healing reduction, really relevant though. So Anna's number one, 100%, because of her grenade. Very easy to land, almost impossible to miss, really, unless I guess you're really bad. Of course, other heroes have healing reduction on some of their abilities. Deckard with a gem, Malfurion with a I think it's a level 4 talent, unless it's 7, 4 or 7. The healing reduction roots. Who else has healing reduction? Varian, Mortal Strike at 13. Zool gets it at 20. That's way too late. Mortal Strike's 40%, pretty insane, off of his Heroic Strike trade auto attack thingy, whatever it's called. My brain's frazzled. But that's level 13. Maybe it's a little too late. A bunch of the supports have it either baseline or much sooner in the game, like levels 1 through 7, 1 through 4. Malthael has healing reduction for 4 seconds pretty early in the game. Who else has healing reduction? Looking through the list. I think Valeera might have something, but no one really plays her. Is anyone else? Anyone else? Off the top of my head, no. I think it's just those heroes. So in conclusion, Malthael. Yeah, I mentioned him. Yeah. No, I just said Malthael. Maybe you missed it. So look to interrupt him, look to reduce his healing, and or maybe look to displace him. Top three things. And that should be a pretty strong way to and look to just you need to layer abilities. You can't just chase him down. You can't just body block him unless he's blown his sleep and his Q, because he can move with both abilities, right? His swipe, 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 and his sleep fly. So interrupt, silence, because you can't just body block him. That doesn't work. Swipe goes through enemies, so you can't body block the guy really unless he's super bad. But again, don't assume players are super bad. So look for actual lockdown, chain stun him, silence him, root him, healing reduce him, interrupt his skills, and he will be a very, very sad vampire. Um, yeah, and any changes that do happen to him, like I said, he's overtuned in that 4 or 5% range. It should just be some numbers. He'll probably have slightly less survivability or slightly less damage or something, or maybe they'll increase some of the cooldowns on his Q or Z or whatever. We'll see. But he's still going to be really useful, whatever the case. And I really got to disable Nightbot. This is actually annoying me. Nightbot, go away. But in the meantime, we'll move on to the next query. Question. Oh, this is like a long answer, so I'm gonna have to give a short answer for now because of the hour. Question: if you made a meta tier list for Div C MMR range, which is Div C NGS specifically, which is something like silver to gold, I believe, on average, maybe a couple like low plats, maybe even some high-end bronzes. By low, I mean like plat 5. Here, I'm just trying to get a night back. Top tier is like the top first band pick. Sorry, my camera's doing weird things. So I'm trying to disable Nightbot timers here. Delete. Okay, deleted the NGS standing thing. Top. I mean, I think Grubby has a really good list. Like, what would I do? I recommend people pick high impact heroes who don't really have to rely on their team too much. They don't rely on like heavy execution. So let's hero draft. There we go. Here we are. Top tier. I mean, Mal'Ganis is actually fairly conditional on team follow up. Like no matter how well you set up, Diablo is always like for basically beginning of time has been just pick Diablo and win games. It was true like 3 years ago. It's still true today. Because at a point he's not very team reliant. He can just make so many things happen and be so tanky and be so annoying. Like even the worst players will eventually follow up with him. Let's just say like there's a top pick in each category. So we'll go through and look at warriors. What's going on? I'd say Diablo for sure. There's probably another really good warrior, Mal'Ganis, we just talked about, but he's a little more conditional. But kind of the same thing. Garrosh can feed people to the team, but not necessarily. Sometimes Garrosh has a really low skill tier, so that's questionable. If you want to look at more some offlaner things, this is where you like look to crush. Definitely Sonya. Artanis, super underrated by the way. The hero's a beast and no one really knows. Artanis can just crush lanes and swaps. People don't look for swaps. Like displacement's super strong. Stitches can be god tier, but sometimes teams literally just never follow up on a hook. For some reason I can't find Sonya. My brain isn't working. Because I already picked her, that's why. Derp. I'm looking for Artanis. Derp. Why can't I find Artanis? Because he's right there. So like sort of off laney style things, these guys I think are really good. If we want to look at supports, Lily is actually insane, no joke. She's a ridiculous bully. Basically has no cooldowns and can get away with a lot. And of course, any variant of like Deckard or probably not Tyrande, not Anna. Alex maybe. Alex has like big win buttons with like Dragon Queen. Probably something like this. Like easy mode. I'm talking about like non-synergy. You heard me say it up front. Heroes who aren't really dependent on team synergy and execution. You can just press buttons and make things happen. Is really what I'm looking at. And for assassins, Raynor for sure. Greymane probably. If we're talking like auto attackers. Kerrigan, super stomp mode. No one knows how to dodge. No one understands that when Kerrigan jumps at you, you can just like move a little this way and avoid her combo. Of course, new Kerrigan has 2 Ravage jumps. A lot harder. Anyway. failing to get these heroes up on screen nearly as like quickly as I'd like. So auto attacker heroes play these guys. Greymane camps really well and has burst. Raynor is just all around tanky, hard to kill. It gets a lot of damage. That's like range assassins, melee assassins. The Kerrigan's really good. Maiev, questionable. I'm not really sure about her. Can do a lot on her own, sometimes useless on her own, so Kerrigan's probably better. Butcher, honestly, just run at people, but you probably need to like third to fifth pick him. So let's say Kerrigan, Butcher. He disappeared on me. For melee, probably Kerrigan, Butcher. You're talking mages specifically. Kel Kel'Thas, probably top pick. Just very non-team reliant in general. Has pretty flexible, like where he wants his damage. Less, Chromie kind of come back a little, but you really have to be good with her, so maybe not. Li Ming, you just throw damage at people. Gul'dan also really strong on his own. Probably say like these mages. Maybe Li Ming's like 50-50. Gale's easy though. Mephisto, maybe. Let's skip him for now. And then we're looking at like specialist heroes. Nazeebo, ridiculous. Just pick Nazeebo, probably win every game. Zool can be awesome. Zagara, again, super underrated. These heroes are ridiculous. Like bully, pusher, harasser. Really strong team fighter now. Blizzard scaled her, like reworked her. I had some pretty high success running her, even in a 4-man. She can still offlane if she wants, but could be better in the 4-man these days. These are like really good, just make annoying things happen. Both of these have summons, right? Just throw out extra shit on the screen, more things for the enemy to hit and dodge or block skill shots. Is really nice. If you happen to have some like god tier Abathur Vikings player or even a hammer, these are probably like free wins. But more conditional Azmodan, if you know what you're doing, probably really, really good. Let's say those. Let's leave it at that. That's like the quick and dirty tier list, basically. I can make one on Heroes Hearth. I probably should. Assuming it is different, why is it different from standard meta? Mostly that. A lot of meta stuff is actually decently execution heavy and fairly combo based. Or even if it's like some sort of sustained defense hyper carry thing with double support. I don't know. People still have to press their buttons together at the right times. And the tier list I would make would veer away from that, where people don't have to do that. Their individual play on a hero is enough to make it all come together and win the game. That would be my tier list for lower skill Div C range, which is again in that like silver goldish, lowish plat. As far as I've seen, anyway, it seems like majority silver gold with a couple rare plats. So really, we're looking at silver gold. Make life easy. I say this for everyone. Make your life easy. Why make the game hard? Start. And if you're talking about meta, if you have no idea what to pick, this is like another question no one's really asked, and something I'm going to cover in like a later static, like what is meta style video or post. Meta is really good for baseline. If you're having trouble drafting, if you're having trouble playing, look to meta. Meta's great. Everyone else is doing it. It wins a lot of, more often than it loses. So yeah, start there. Is a great place to start. But I find a lot of players have atypical hero pools. They have non-meta hero pools, and heroes they're really, really good on, and they ignore them, or their teams ignore them because. So if you, sorry, I'll go back into that. So I find a lot of heroes go unused, and they refuse to draft them because that hero is garbage. Can't use it. No one plays it. It's not meta. All this nonsense. It's like utilize your player's strengths. Someone's a god tier Murky, let him play Murky, him or her. So on and so forth. If you wanted to draft a good team using that tier list, what would you pick for a solid team? Okay, we're gonna go back to the hero picker. Doing some Diablo. Where's Jimmy? Give me some Jimmy. Give me some Lily. She can slow people. Follow up for Diablo. I don't typically recommend mages with Diablo because shenanigans. We're gonna throw Kale in here anyway. Although yeah. Anyway, doesn't matter. We're gonna throw Kale. This is just quick. There's ways to cut the Kale and throw in like a Nazebo instead. Well, in this case, we're looking at melee, so we Artanis and Diablo gets a little crazy because sometimes we can mess each other up. So let's probably avoid that. And I'll just throw out something really easy like a Sonya. And then here you go. You just run at people non-stop. And Kale, you have solid wave clear between like Kale, Raynor, Diablo, Firestomp, Sonya handles her lane. This gives you like a bit of. I would look to be also all rounder, right? You have clear, you have mark power, you have fight power. You can push buildings, like some of everything. Give you some of everything, because when you start picking drafts that can only do one or two things, it severely limits your options in your win condition. And then if you don't execute them properly, if you don't understand what they are, you'll fall behind in the match, and you probably will not have a comeback window or whatever comeback option either. So you just basically just throw in the kitchen sink with make stuff happen heroes who can work both independently and together. And here we go. Let's throw in a different draft. I think this is pretty good. I think this could work on just about any map. This could work on Infernal Shrines. This could work on Tombs. This could work on Cursed. There's a lot of pretty good defense. Lily's a little susceptible to interrupts on our Jugs, for example. But Diablo's tanky, Raynor's tanky. Sonya can either be super tanky or super paper. But there's so much chaos with this. You have Diablo running at people, Sonya running at people, Kale's just throwing down fire, Lily's running around just being annoying on the front lines. Target me, and then you don't kill her because she's running around with fast feed and shit. Raynor should never die, and he either throws down Hyperion or his ult. Like, it's a no-brainer comp. This is impossible to screw up, really, unless you have super bad players. Let's look at another draft. That's different. Let's do one more before we move on. I mentioned Diablo, and I honestly don't remember who else I said on the warrior front. Lol. I think I said Mal'Ganis. No, I didn't say Mal'Ganis. I think actually I just said Diablo. But Muradin's pretty hard to bollocks up, so let's just grab Muradin. And we're going to look at something a little different in the off lane, actually. Actually, never mind Muradin. This is better. Drafting brain at work here. We're going to grab the Joe. We're going to do the old Joe Asmo. You do want this on the rotation map, so slight caveat here. Not entirely. Asmo's still really good on like Cursed Hollow and whatever, so whatever. That's why we're grabbing it. Multi-purpose. Probably don't necessarily want a secondary mage, so we'll grab maybe some more camp power, like individual power, because we already have again trying to mix and match. We already have AoE with Johanna and Asmo. Now we have single target focus with Greymane. Pretty solid. And for supports, I think I picked out like Lily, Alex, and maybe one other. So whatever, we're just going to throw down an Alex. We have some fat targets here already for her percentage heals with Asmodeena and Johanna. Dragon Queen, of course, is great, and her flame can slow people for Greymane and Joe and whatever. This team actually is pretty non-squishy. You could be really greedy and throw like some sort of assassin in the off lane, like a Thrall or something, but really you could probably go in for a Bruiser style hero. I think even like an Artanis could be pretty interesting here. Swaps back into this team are pretty solid. You have Johanna and Alex slows. Asmo laser if he's there. Greymane can just munch people. Gives you blinds in a fight. Both his ults are global. Or you have the laser to zone someone out and pick your fight. You're lasering someone and zoning them while swapping another hero into their team, and they're just running around and okay, that's ideal conditions, but so Artanis is, I guess, maybe vaguely. I mean, the only high execution skill on that hero is swap. And if you're bad at swapping, whatever, you still just run at people with your twin blades. Artanis also doubles down as a secondary Merc Taker with amateur opponent, or like a Mortal Burn. This could work on BoE pretty well, for example. Although Asmo is a little. He's not neither bad nor amazing on BoE, he just is. So this is just, again, quick and dirty draft. You don't have to, like, you don't need the Asmo here, right? He's functioning essentially as your AoE damage. So you're like, well, we don't want to play Asmo. Okay, we'll cut the Asmo and you can throw in a Zebo. You could throw in, a Li Ming or something, a Jaina if you really wanted to, because this is a pretty easy Jaina game. But I prefer something less this short range, right? Like if you don't pick something like an Asmo or a Li Ming or a Junkrat, though I didn't recommend some of those heroes. Honestly, you could just throw Nova into this team. That'd be funny. I recommended Kerrigan. Kerrigan Bay. There we go. You could just do something like this too. But then Artanis would probably be next for something else. Because you're a little too heavy on melee there. You're not too heavy, but potentially. So you could do something like this, but you could also cut the Artanis and pick ban heroes that are dangerous to your team composition. Yeah, exactly. Here's where you could just throw in something like the Naz, so you have some sort of magey. Of course, Kerrigan's vaguely. I don't consider a melee mage. Some people do, but I don't. The only melee mage is Rag. But you could pick something like a Naz here if you wanted. Because then you have this annoying Nazeebo poke. It's not as much AoE, but like Kerrigan Greymane's insane single target AoE. Kerrigan has some AoE, but really she's usually hitting one person. So, but we're gonna have something like that, quick and dirty. I'm falling asleep, but I could come up with some more combos. But I would say something like that. Oh, probably just do one more question, because I think I still have 5 more. Actually, let's look at these questions. Oh, okay. We actually just we already went through this. Okay, you asked the question, and I actually meant to show these on screen at the same time. I just spaced it out. So we actually basically just answered this. Haha. Next question. I'm gonna probably take a quicker one. It's too slightly. This is the non-C tier. Oh, is that it? Is it? Is it? Oh, my version. Yeah, this is to my version's like Diamond Master range. I don't play at the GM level. Maybe if I grinded like crazy hard in a season, I could get there. But I've never tried, so I guess I don't know. But like High Diamond Master, I'll answer that next stream. This will be an next stream question, which will be this week or the next few days. I am also going to skip Cersei's question and your next question right now. I love the questions, but it's going to require me to talk a lot about drafting and maps and the map picker and drawing and all this stuff, and I'm falling asleep. So, that'll be a rain check on those. Oh, Mr. Tank, what's the best thing someone can do to beat up their team captain? You pick troll heroes, or heroes the capability to troll, like Garrosh with Ally Toss. And every time you're in a fight or near a wall or whatever, you just throw your captain over the wall into the enemy team. Win mode. That's like #1 troll. Who else control? You could like medevac into the enemy core or something if you're playing. Like get in! Oh my god, we're gonna go do something great, and they don't look where you're going, and you just fly them like right in to the base. Yes, that's what you can. So that's one way to troll and support. Honestly, a lot of it's frontline, like Stitch's helping hands, hooks as well. Something else that affects teammates. Medivh portals. Medivh's super great at trolling. Just portal like in all the wrong places. I know, but it's a great question, and fun questions are fun. How can I make my team captain be my best friend? You know, just tell him he's like handsome and he's the best tank in Div C, which I think he was the second best tank by the numbers, or was it maybe it was #1 tank? I can't remember. You should probably like buy him chocolate or something too. I don't know what he likes. Find out what he likes and just give him that. Forcing Doom to play Juice Pirates. What's the one thing that everyone can do that will help improve their play? Serious question. Positioning. Positioning, positioning, positioning. Everything in this game is positioning. Everything. Every roll, every moment, every engage, every movement around the map, every little thing about this game from the moment the horn blows and you're out of the gate is positioning and how well you understand how to do that. And it comes in many forms. It comes with just moving around the lane and avoiding damage. It comes with being in range to support your teammates. It comes with not being out of position so you're wasting cooldowns. It comes with standing on the right side of a boss or objective and knowing where the enemy's coming. It comes with hiding in bushes. It's a million things. There's a lot of mechanics and knowledge there is. How does one get better at that except for playing dozens, if not hundreds of games? Are there videos for that? Probably. I haven't made them myself. I would, at a minimum, I'm making text content about all this stuff, like posts, over the next month or two. I'm going to try and do as much as I can, along with like learning style streams. And of course, have like some helpful photos or whatever. Video content, to make a lot of it. I work full time already. It's hard to do that. Are there videos? Most likely. I don't know them off the top of my head. If you poke around my channel, my Discord, under like the resources, there is a bunch of stuff. I'm not saying I don't want to play. I'm just looking for something that will help boost that quickly. Yeah, there's probably. I mean, everyone looks at HOTS a little differently, right? So I have a particular angle of vision. It doesn't make it right or wrong. And maybe you look at someone like Grubby or Not Paradox or some of these like content people are out there actually making content and streaming regularly. I don't stream regularly. This is like my first start of a learning style stream. Um, I don't know off the top of my head. I'm sure there's something. Is there something exactly what I'm talking about that's like a full coverage? Probably not. Most videos that I've seen in the past or glanced at, which I didn't save at the time, um, they don't cover everything. They usually cover like one thing, like how to play this hero, how to play this build, how to play this map, um, how to hide in bushes or something. They usually focus on like one aspect, which is a lot more digestible, frankly, for players as well. And you can work on that one thing and then move on to the next thing. I'm trying to put together a more comprehensive guide to HOTS, what you're talking about, covering these details, going through, making it more comprehensive, like on a step-by-step basis, is my goal. How far I get, if I can complete it in a reasonable time, we'll see. But it's on the brain. I have lots of notes on it, and I've written parts of it. Anyway, maybe Zeldrith can help out. Just Google it. You know, let's see. Let's look. Let's look. What can we find? HOTS positioning guide. There we go. Positioning. Here's the Storm wiki. Oh, you suck at positioning. Any good? There's all kinds of stuff. All right, what do we got? This is a pretty interesting post. I don't know if it's any good, but it looks good. Help. Where'd my stream chat go? Oh, I jacked it. Oops, there it is. I don't know. There's some stuff there. I didn't see a video link, but there's a text guide, and something as mine isn't ready yet. Just try and be a little bit of a like my goal is to try and help you, anyone, any players I know or want. My particular brand of advice is to try and have these resources available to them when they ask questions like this. Unfortunately, my resources aren't complete yet, so I can verbally answer you, but I can't just say, hey, go here right away. What's my rank in HL and TL? TL's Master, HL was either Diamond 1 or Diamond 2. That was last season. I haven't placed this season. But I've been Master TL the last couple seasons, just out of placements. And I believe I've been Diamond 1 or 2 the last couple seasons as well, because I've just basically played my placements and haven't done anything since. Favorite flavor of ice cream? Vanilla. Kind of more, or maple walnut's actually pretty badass. Yeah, well, it's a great foundation because you can add all sorts of stuff to it, right? Sprinkles, caramel, chocolate, nuts, whatever. You know, it doesn't clash. It's not weird. You can just the baseline for all greatness. All right. Let me see. HOTS positioning guide video. Let's see if anything comes up. I didn't look for that. HOTS positioning guide. There's a whole bunch of stuff, and I have no idea if it's any good, but it's here. And it's also from like 3 years ago. So, you know, just Google and like this is the thing. Like, you know, not all learning's created equal. I'm not the best content creator around. In fact, I'm sort of crummy at that because I tend to be very spur of the moment. I'm trying to start streaming, and I'll probably start a YouTube channel where all this gets exported and saved and all that jazz. I'm terrible at social media and all this kind of stuff. I just like talking about HOTS, but we'll see what I can get done. Yeah, so just Google something like this, you know, and I can't vet the videos for you right now and say like watch it and go, yeah, this is really great. This will really help you. I don't know, because some content out there is frankly junk. It's not helpful at all. It's almost useless. But some of it is great. But even from some 5-10 minute video, maybe you can watch and get a few ideas. Maybe get a few tips and go, oh, I'll try that. I would start with what role do you play, by the way? This would help me give you some advice where to start. Also, I should have put your question up on the screen. He's solo lane, off lane. Okay. And look specifically look at guides for off lane because that's very different. Because there are solo almost exclusively, other than certain matchups where they pull more people and there's weird 2v2s or 1v2s. That's understanding duelist matchups. How heroes pair off in a vacuum, because most offlaners are in a vacuum, honestly, unless there's an enemy global to come in or you have a global. Also looking. Oh, okay. But being good at offlane, look up guides on lane equilibrium, lane control. Look at that specifically, and there's definitely guides out there that are good, for sure. That's very important as an offlaner. If it's a mechanic you can understand and leverage, you'll just be way more better at your offlaning. And looking at those sort of guides will also inform you on positioning. So look up offlane positioning or offlane lane control, lane equilibrium, these sorts of words. Look around. You'll find stuff on Reddit. You'll find stuff on YouTube. 100%. Lane equilibrium. Is that what you said? Yeah, that's what I said. Lane control, lane equilibrium. There's lane mechanics, off lane, any of these sort of words. Poke around, you should be able to find something that'll help you with your offlane play. All right. We're gonna actually go to Jesse's question really quick. Well, actually, maybe. Actually, you know what? I need to wind down the stream, honestly. I'm dying. I'm falling asleep in my chair. So we're actually going to wind up the stream. Next time, we'll try and remember to put like live questions on chat, just right in the box, so people know what I'm yakking about without having to look at chat. What team are you on for Heroes Lounge? I am not on a team for Heroes Lounge. I'm signed up as a caster. I don't really have the play bug right now for HOTS, which is why I haven't played that much. But I still like to really talk about it. Do I want to be? No, not right now. And if I did, I would make my own team. I'm not a joiner. I'm a creator. Always have been. Ah ha ha ha. I am a hard jack of all trades, but I'm good. I'll let you be the boss off laner. That's your job. So we didn't get to use our drawing board, but here's a quick thing just to show it off so people can understand what it is and like why it can be cool. Because Maybe I can be like, oh, let's throw out a hero, and there's a Zool. And then I'm like, well, you rotate here, and then the off lane's going here, and then you like rotate up and down, and then you suddenly zip down and gank them. My drawing's really off, but you get the idea. Um, you can do cool stuff with this. Mad Buddha's coaching tools thingy. Yeah. So I'll be using this to answer some of the other questions I didn't get to tonight, talking about specific drafts and movements and matchups and whatnot. So, hey Venus, how's it going? So we don't have a question up, but we still have, I think, 5 or 6 more questions I didn't get to, and of course a new one came in since I started. Let me see. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 questions I didn't answer, and technically sort of 5 about the tier list questions. So basically 5 more questions for next stream, just to start, and then anything else we get in live. And indeed. Alrighty. That will probably do it for this evening. So thank you all for showing up at this late hour. Let's say for me, I'm on East Coast, so it's after 1. My next stream won't be at midnight for for this. Either looking to do it in the evenings, or if I can manage to do it on weekends, I'll probably even be in the mornings, or like by noon or something. Daytime stuff. Yeah, thank you for showing up, asking some great questions, asking some silly questions. It's all enjoyable. The stream is meant to be just casual improv, spur of the moment. Plus, I'll always start with some material, and then I am hoping that people show up and we can keep the conversation going. Thank you, Mr. Moistweenus. Yeah, like that's me. Like I will talk seriously for 3 hours, but any time in between, I'll just be totally casual at the same time. Like I'm flexible, not particular. Let me see. What was I talking? Oh, this is the Malganish image drawing board. Heroes picker. Whoops display. That's infinite display. That's really that screen's meant for when I'm like in HOTS showing off talents. People have a mechanics question. I can zip into try mode and show them something specific. I've done that before for like Zeldrith on Garrosh, showing them how to do like throw war breaker, groundbreaker. God, I can't remember the name of the Q combos. Yeah, so anything like that, be ready for. So, Weenus is casually bad. Lel. No, I mean, being honest, I don't know if you are bad or not. I can't tell if you're just joking, being self-deprecating or whatever. But being honest about your skill level is good for your improvement, assuming you're looking to improve. You don't have to be. There's no reason you can't just chill out in HOTS and have fun at whatever skill level that may be. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just here if people either just want to hear me yak. I was gonna say yak about HOTS. If you're looking to improve in a specific way for a specific role, I can give you pointed advice. Blah blah blah. There are a bunch of handy resources in my server though, if you want to poke around. There is some hero-specific guides, a bunch of conceptual stuff, team stuff. Doesn't mean we can't Ripper memes now. Yes, because my face is available, and you'll have better lighting. Like this, I tried not using the glasses for a while, but the eye strain is real. And there's this like ridiculous reflection like right here, which I can see. I'm sure it's annoying, unless I like lean way back. No, it's still there. Feels bad. But yeah, other streams should be in the daytime or evening without such harsh glare. Yeah, feel free to meme away. This box is like annoying me with it being gray. What's like a preview question? Like Cersei had a great question. Dan can support. Jay had a question about Diablo, which Ripper meme's coming soon. Yeah. Which this was okay. I'm gonna throw this up on screen. Here we're not talking. Here, what are we doing? This is probably the wrong screen to do this, actually. Where's like a better screen to do this? I don't even know. We're gonna use this screen.
Actually, you know what? This would be a good screen, but I need to put on this. Boom. There we go. And then I still have it. This was this was a draft from Leftovers, pro European team, and I called the image garbage because it is. This garbage. Where's like me? Boom. Here I am. I call this draft garbage. At a glance, it looks pretty good, honestly, or you might think it's really good. But this relates to his question about Diablo because I was talking about it in my server, and I talked a while about why this draft was bad. And I imagine his follow-up question was, well, what is good with Diablo? Because I kind of criticized Deckard and some of this other follow-up with Diablo as being unideal. Um, yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna do stuff like this. Just throw up images, And I think I have the enemy draft, which is really good. And I think it's still here. It's called Awesome. Awesome. Yay. Here's Awesome. Well, it's way smaller. Yeah. So top draft, this bottom draft, good. Top draft, terrible. Draft like bottom draft. Don't draft like top draft. Anyway, stuff like this. This is what I mean. The stream's just like casual improv. Like, I do want to add a caveat. Like, this is all a work in progress. Per se, this isn't like its final form. I will look to standardize things a little more. Snazz up some of my like question box down there, down there, and add like team logos or maybe player Discord logos or something next to each question. Things like that, and actually like live type any chat questions so they're there in the box. They're in the box down there. Yeah, so I'm out. I'm too tired, but I hope the stream was fun. First time. I think I got through some of the questions pretty well. Had some good draft stuff mostly. But yeah, anyone can poke through it, of course. So thank you all for coming, showing up, having fun, making fun of me, making fun of each other, asking great questions. So good night, be well, and I'll see you soon. Maybe tomorrow evening or in the next 48 hours. I'll try and do the next stream at a more reasonable hour. Thank you very much. Good luck, have fun out there in the Nexus.